Holy cow, man. Alright, so we have something in that box that's for these. And I think that Zeos had a video about how he really loved the 2000s. Now, these are just the 500s. And I was trying to figure out, okay. What if I went to Dan Clark Audio's website and I picked up the Alpha Dog pads? So I did. I just really wanted to, for myself, really see what that's like, to completely change the sound of a headphone. I mean, I've done it before. We put the velour pads on the Sony headphones, like every single one of those 48 millimeter driver headphones. So let's go to the overhead real quick. If it does switcheroo for me. So, oh, that's the wrong one. I actually forgot that I changed the camera. So I wanted to put the good camera on me and the bad camera on the overhead. So, big apologies. That's basically what's going to happen here. So let's put this on here. It'll be a little bit low quality, and apologies for that. So, as you can see, the regular pads that are on these are quite interesting, to say the least. They have this, they are actually not thicker. They aren't thicker. They just have this big lip, and this big lip is actually what allows that feeling of an angled pad. It is an angled driver inside of these headphones. Even though these are just a 500 model. Oh my god, yeah, we're not going to get a good zoom on this. Even though they're just a 500 model, they do not have angled pads. So these are going to be angled pads. And apparently, because of how thick they are, they're supposed to add a lot more to the sound stage. And possibly because of their material, we should get more bass response out of these. And I've been listening to these for quite a while. I still remember what these 500s sound like. We're waiting for 900s to come in so I can compare the two headphones as well. But I've been a little impatient and I really want to use the Alpha Dog pads. I've seen some reviews of them and they put it on AKGs. So just know that that's an option. So yeah, genuine lamb leather from Dan Clark Audio. It didn't really take that long from the guy from his shop, which is nice. But as you can see here, you just get this bag inside that box. And oh my god, is that stiff. Because it's cold, it's Canada. So, wow. Look how freaking thick and angled that is. Like, it's only stiff and hard strictly because it's cold. It's cold right now. It's Canada. Let me just see if I can do face cam overhead. We have to switcheroo this like live, and I'm so sorry about that because as you can tell, I was unprepared for this to happen where I was gonna end up changing my cameras. So let's just make it like that big. I'm so sorry, guys. Now, these feel really good. Let's just put it that way. We don't have that lip though. That's something that's really interesting. So I'm kind of curious how this is going to turn out. I don't recall on Zeos's channel him like showing us how he did it, but we definitely need these to warm up. So we're going to pause the video and we're going to let these warm up for just a little bit. So that way they ain't going to be too stiff, because I feel as though these should be just a little softer, but it's just that, you know, Canada, they've been outside or they've been in shipping for quite a while, and I don't want these to rip as I put these on for the first time. So let's just wait and see for a second. Okay, so right off the bat, it's already becoming more soft by just alone me just doing this with it with my hands. I mean, you could try to lay an egg with these, right? Just sit on them, but maybe it's not the best idea. So these are expensive. If we go to their website real quick, I'm gonna pull that up for you guys. So we're on their website, and if we go a little bit down, there it is. Alpha Dogs, Alpha Pads, genuine lamb leather. These are super duper popular because of their comfort and also because of how soft they are. And I have to say that again, it's just the Canadian weather. The cold started coming out all of a sudden in January, and yeah, it's definitely showing. It's definitely showing as I'm holding this. Lots of reviews of these. Some people have had a little bit of issues replacing them, so I'm gonna do. I'm gonna be very safe with this when I put these on. What I'm gonna try my best to do is strictly make sure that these are warm, and then we're gonna stretch the outside of these just by running my finger in there and just doing this. It's gonna look kind of weird, but we're gonna compare as I loosen this to what the pad looks like without me doing that, because this is going to be the part that is stretching the most and doing some action. So as you can see here, that's a little bit more loose compared to that. Maybe it's really hard to see, but it's a little bit, it's kind of opening up a little bit. So we're just gonna have to be very gentle, and this is now while the pad has warmed up a little bit. So we're just gonna run my nail inside there. That's kind of like maybe a bad thing, but just trying to not scratch the leather outside, just the leather inside. And now we're gonna try to put these on. So I'm not gonna record myself doing that. We're gonna pause and wait. But if you can see here, similar to how the AKGs are, there is like a little slot here. So I'm gonna have a feeling that we can probably use that slot to our advantage to put them in. But I mean, it may not be the case for, if you can see here, for structural, for access. These are actually cut out strictly because of the screws here to access the driver. So we'll see how that goes, and I'll talk about that after I try to put these on. We got the first pad on, and I'm going to give you a little bit of a breakdown of how that freaking happened, because this definitely is not for the ill of mind who are like super scared of handling these expensive leather pads. As you can see here on the edge here, this isn't gonna be like this. I pulled some of the threading out, but that's okay. I'll probably cut that after. But what is important here is that when you're putting these on, start by putting, like, running the leather at the top here, because since, as you can see, this is like just shielded off by the hanger, you actually want to run the top lip through, like you want to hook it on top of here first, and then work your way counterclockwise for the right ear here. Like, do the thin part first and then the thick part, because as soon as you start doing the thick part, that's where you have to do the stretching, and that's when this is going to happen, where of course, like I've shown you before, we have all that material on the back there that allows for that to happen, because these are not actually angled pads. These ones, right? The stock pads are not actually angled pads. They're thin. They're just made angled by the design of the can. So let's put on the next driver. I was able to do it, but that's the order I did it in, and I learned that on my own. But the more and more I was manipulating it nice and slowly, by the way, the more malleable this became. So you don't have to be scared of accidentally ruining something. I just have to like pull or cut this thread. But yeah, basically that's how I got the first pad on. I'll be back in a moment to put with the second pad and the right cup on. All right, it's been finished. We have both the pads on, and they are, again, we have like this part here that will be kind of loose once you've aligned them and everything, but hey, they're on here, man. They're on here. I haven't even worn them yet. Let's take off the 5XXs and put the freaking 500, the Audio-Technica AD500Xs with the Alpha Dog pads from Dan Clark Audio. And we're gonna actually listen to a song. Just gonna give a listen to Misty. okay, right away, they're heavier. Right off the bat, they feel a lot more heavier than before, and it sounds a lot more. It sounds like there's a lot more soundstage for sure because of how far the driver is, and it kind of forces you to want to put them a little louder. So I'm gonna do that, and let's just listen to Misty. I'll pause though because I don't want to get DMCA'd. Okay, so I went through the typical songs. I have a playlist on Spotify. My test songs are always "Time to Say Goodbye." Casey Lee Williams is singing that song. It's from Ruby. Always Slow by Yuatsu. I didn't listen to Slow though. I have a feeling I still recall what the highs and stuff are like with these headphones. But I did listen to Rock With You, Don't Stop Till You Get Enough, Michael Jackson. Big Brown Eyes by Benny Sings, Tail Whip by Men I Trust, and One Click Headshot and Centipede, Feed Me and Knife Party, respectively. And, wow. So, Josh Velour, and I think Zeos have made videos on pads before and their effects depending on the material. And since these are just full-blown leather, no sound escapes. And I'm blasting these at, like, the loudest they can go on the Magni on low gain, and they're loud. Let's just play Harris Heller real quick. So this is Spectre, Harris Heller, and like these are loud, dude. But it's the bass response. That's something that has definitely changed. Like, I would describe it as the the sub bass is very active. In Centipede, there's a part leading into the drop refrain where it's like bow 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 ba 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 bow, and then there's actually a bass line that follows that, and you feel that in the sub bass now. That this headphone definitely has. That's something that I think I've noticed with these. Even with the stock pads. Put these a little bit loud, right? Loud enough, and you'll actually be a little bit surprised that it sounds thin. These are 500s. They sound thin, and also the soundstage and imaging are actually amazing. But it definitely does lack bass. But it's there. You can actually feel the sub bass. That was my initial reaction to when I first picked these up. I was like, holy cow, these things have... I've never felt that before, actually, in a headphone. And I was really happy. But I put these on the shelf because I was just like, I have the 5XXs. I have the K240 Studios. And it's not that they are any better at bass. I mean, these are definitely really good for bass. Nice, clean bass. But sub bass and that feel, I feel with the Alpha Dog pads on these, you get it. It's like we boosted the bass heavily, but it's not like you ruined the song though, because listening to dubstep, I think that's a good example, especially more heavier drops such as, what's it called? Eyes on Fire. If you guys recall that song, that was remixed by Zed's Dead. Listening to something with a heavy drop on these magnetic planars are it's such a beauty to it, and it's not the bass anymore like it used to be for me, where it's like I just want muddy bass. It's not 2013 anymore. It's an educated 2021 Seth, looking at music, listening to music, and recognizing that there's still a beauty in dubstep, but I think it's the texture of the bass. So these definitely bring out some texture that is more in that sub range. And you may or may not like it, but damn, were my ears, like, especially down in the bottom here, we're feeling things. Like it's up or it's down. It's rumbling. but I mean, it could be because they're so loud too. But it was definitely not here when I was blasting it with the regular pads. These more kind of like not felt. I don't know how to describe it, but the material that they use for the stock pads allow for more bleed. So of course your bass is not going to have a chamber to develop in, but just that alone on these is just like I don't have a song. I can't really pick random songs on Pretzel Rocks because I don't have I'm not a premium member or whatever. So one of the more bassier songs from Harris Heller's, I can't just pick it. But I gotta say that if you have a bass song, you're gonna definitely feel it with these now. I can't wait to get the 900s. I now know how to put the Alpha Dog pads on them. I am actually kind of curious if the size of the cup is a little smaller on the, what are those called? On the like 2000s and the 5000s. I bet you they're not. I bet you they're the same size. But it's just that these definitely were very hard to put on, but was it worth it? Yeah. These made these headphones very fun. And I think that's exactly what's going to happen when I get the 900s and I put these pads on there. They're going to be very fun. Very soft, very plush. Again, if you live in a cold country and you just ordered these, don't be scared. They're stiff, but they're going to soften up with time. So would you bring these with you to to an outdoor Canadian party during winter? Nah, these ain't gonna be keeping your head warm. They're definitely gonna be keeping the cold within. But oh man, does it feel very nice and warm and active down there in the sub bass. Even just in tail whip, the bass line sounds really interesting. And Big Brown Eyes, that kick as well. Oh, the kick. Don't stop till you get enough. There was something that happened there where the instruments are having some, they're finally talking a little bit with Michael on the vocals, and you kind of notice that one is closer here while the other is out. So there's now that kind of separation between how far left and how far right it is. I mean, I think the imaging, they already had that. These headphones already had that, but it definitely emphasized that a little bit more, I feel, when something was like closer and something's actually further like out there. I feel like that definitely had more emphasis with these pads on there. But yeah, that's the Alpha Dog pads from Dan Clark Audio. I hope that this video helped, maybe, in deciding whether or not you want to pick these up. I mean, I would not hesitate to suggest picking up one of the Air Series headphones. I mean, they sound amazing, even though these are just the 500s. They sound so beautiful, and with just a pad exchange, I wish I could be that good where it's like I can pick out like what pad would suit what headphone. Like, yeah, definitely these were lacking bass, and the suggestion from Zeos's video was just to slap a pair of Alpha Dogs on these, and yeah, no, it does the trick for sure. So you put these pads on any of the Air Series headphones, you're definitely going to have the same effect. They sound muddy though, in the mid-range, the 500s. I feel as though it has this hollowness now. So I would say that would disappear when you go into the more expensive headphones in that lineup. So maybe around the 1000s and above, you may not experience something like that. But I definitely prefer the mid-range on the 5XXs compared to these. But I mean, that's comparing like magnetic planars to dynamic headphones. Even though they're both open backs, dynamics are just known to have better bass response. And then magnetics are just known to be really good in the mids and really good in the highs. So take that what you will, though. Mid-range gets washed out, and I would believe if you have the 1000s or 2000s, the mids will be at such a clarity that doing this kind of pad exchange won't affect the sound signature too much. But it will add that low end that it definitely has been doing. Like it is capable of low end, It's capable of giving you that experience of sub bass. It's just that the pads kind of prevent it from doing so. And this just brings it out. So yeah, thanks for watching the video. Take care, be safe. You know how it is. COVID. Yeah.